My husband left me for another woman the day he got promoted. He had no idea what I'd already done. The day my husband walked through our front door with champagne and that smug smile, I knew exactly what was coming. He'd gotten the promotion. Vice President of Operations. Everything he'd worked for. Everything we'd worked for. He popped the cork, poured himself a glass, and then he said the 5 words that were supposed to destroy me. I want a divorce, Elena. He thought he was finally free, finally powerful enough to leave me for her. What he didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was that 3 months earlier, I'd found the burner phone. I'd seen every text, every hotel receipt, every lie, and I'd already made my move. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. I love hearing from you all. And how are you doing today? I hope you're having an amazing day. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Trust me, you're going to want to see how this one ends. Now, let me take you back to where this nightmare really began. My name is Elena Ripley, and 12 years ago, I married Tyler Goodcat. Charming. Ambitious. The kind of man who walks into a room and makes everyone believe he belongs at the center of it. I fell for every word, every promise, every lie disguised as a dream. We met at a corporate conference in Denver. I was 26, building marketing campaigns that actually mattered. He was 28, hungry for the corner office. We talked for hours that first night about partnership, about building something meaningful together. Partnership. That word haunts me now. Within 2 years, we were married. And within 5 years, I'd given up everything. My career, my identity, my dreams, all for his promotions, his relocations, his climb up the corporate ladder. Denver to Phoenix, Phoenix to Dallas. Each move meant starting over for me, while Tyler soared higher. I told myself it was temporary, that once we settled, once Tyler's career stabilized, I'd restart mine. But his career never stabilized. It only accelerated. And somewhere in that acceleration, I stopped being his partner and became invisible. We talked about children. Or rather, I talked about it and Tyler said later. Once we're more stable. Once I get the next promotion. Once we're in a better financial position. There was always a once, and that once never came. Our 10th anniversary dinner, Tyler spent the entire meal on his phone. Texting a client emergency, he said. I sat across from him, ordered dessert alone, and realized something had died between us. I just didn't know how dead until I found that burner phone. It was a Saturday morning, 3 months before Tyler's big promotion. He'd gone for his usual run. I was doing laundry, pulling workout clothes from his gym bag, when my hand hit something hard in the inside pocket. A cheap prepaid phone. The kind nobody uses unless they're hiding something. My hands shook as I turned it on. No password. He hadn't even bothered to secure it. And there it was. 2 years of messages to someone named Veronica. 2 years of I love yous and can't wait to see yous. 2 years of complaints about his boring wife who didn't understand him. Plans for their future together once he had the VP salary and signing bonus to make a clean break. Veronica worked under him. 29 years old. Everything I used to be before I gave it all up for him. I sat in that laundry room, reading every message, every lie, every betrayal. And then I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront him. I wasn't going to cry or scream or beg. I was going to document everything and wait for him to make his move. Before we go on, quick question. Are you subscribed? If not, go ahead and fix that for me. I promise, I'll keep the stories coming. I photographed every message on that phone. Every photo. Every receipt. Then I put it back exactly where I found it and made a call to Nathan Brennan, an old college friend who'd become a divorce attorney in Houston. Top-rated. Ruthless. Nathan, I said when he answered. It's Elena Ripley. I need your help. And I need you to keep this completely silent. We met 2 days later. I showed him everything. He went through the photos methodically, his expression darkening. This is bad for him, Nathan said. Really bad. Do you have a prenup? I nodded. Tyler insisted on one before we married. said it was to protect both of us. But the prenup had an infidelity clause. If either party commits adultery, the asset split goes from 50-50 to 60-40 in favor of the injured party, plus mandatory alimony for 5 years. Tyler put that clause in himself. To protect himself if I ever cheated, he'd said. The irony burned. Over the next 3 months, Nathan built my case. He hired a private investigator who documented everything. Tyler and Veronica at hotels, romantic dinners, weekend getaways, a paper trail of lies. The PI discovered more. Tyler had been lying about bonuses. $75,000 over 2 years, funneled into a secret account. Money that was legally half mine. But the biggest discovery was about Tyler's promotion. The VP position came with a $150,000 signing bonus. And the company's ethics policy strictly prohibited romantic relationships between supervisors and direct reports. Violations meant termination for cause and returning all bonuses. Veronica was Tyler's direct report. If this came out, he'd lose everything. Nathan also found dirt on Tyler's rise to VP. He'd sabotaged his main competitor, a woman named Isabel Torrance, by stealing her strategic plans and presenting them as his own. If she ever found out, Tyler would be finished in the industry. For 3 months, I played the perfect unsuspecting wife. Smiled when he came home late. Congratulated him on his interviews. Even helped him pick his suit for the final board presentation. The whole time, I was building an ironclad case. The night before Tyler got his promotion, I texted Nathan. Everything is ready. Just say when. His reply was immediate. Tomorrow. And then Tyler came home with champagne and destroyed our marriage in 5 words. I played my part perfectly. Cried. Asked if there was someone else. Let him lie to my face and tell me it was just about growing apart. Let him think I was broken. He moved out that night into Veronica's luxury apartment downtown. For weeks later, his lawyer sent a settlement offer.
$52,000.
6 months in the house.
No alimony.
Tyler keeps everything else. It was designed to humiliate me, to make me feel worthless. So I called Tyler and asked to meet. Just us.
No lawyers.
We could work this out like adults. He showed up at the coffee shop looking smug. Veronica waited in his car outside, I knew. Elena, he said, sitting down with his expensive latte. I know this is hard, but my offer is fair. More than fair. I slid a folder across the table. Open it.
He did.
And I watched 12 years of arrogance drain from his face as he saw the evidence. Text messages. Photos. Bank statements. The company ethics policy, highlighted. A letter from Isabel Torrance's attorney. You can't, he whispered. Here's what's going to happen, I said calmly. You're going to give me 60% of all marital assets. That includes your signing bonus and 401k. $5,000 a month in alimony for 5 years. And you're going to do it quietly. You have 48 hours. After that, I file everything publicly. HR gets a copy. Isabel gets a copy. Everyone in your network gets a copy. And that board meeting where you're presenting your big strategy? Imagine explaining all this. I stood up and looked down at the man who'd made me invisible for 12 years. 48 hours, Tyler. Choose wisely. I walked out, leaving him frozen with the evidence scattered like ruins across the table. That night, my phone rang. Unknown number. We need to talk, a woman's voice said. Because Tyler has been lying to me too. It was Veronica. Veronica's voice was shaking when she called. Not angry.
Scared.
I almost hung up. Almost told her to deal with her own mess. But something in her tone made me stop.
Can we meet?
She asked.
Please.
I know you have no reason to trust me, but I need to talk to you. Face to face. Why would I do that? Asked, my voice ice cold. Because he lied to both of us. And I think you're the only person who can help me understand how bad this really is. We met 2 days later at a park on the edge of town. Neutral territory, where neither of us would run into anyone we knew. I got there early, sat on a bench near the duck pond, and watched families feed the birds. Normal people living normal lives. I used to be one of them. Veronica arrived exactly on time. She was prettier in person than in the photos. Long dark hair. Designer clothes that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. But her eyes were red and swollen. She'd been crying. She sat down on the opposite end of the bench, keeping distance between us like I might hit her. Maybe I should have wanted to. But looking at her, all I felt was tired. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. "I wasn't sure you would." "I'm not here to be your friend," I told her.
Say what you need to say.
She took a deep breath. "Tyler told me you were already divorced. When we started seeing each other 18 months ago, he said his marriage had been over for years. That you'd separated and were just waiting for the paperwork to finalize. He showed me an apartment, said it was his." I believed him. "The apartment was ours," I said flatly. "Our home. The one I decorated. The one I lived in while you were sleeping with my husband." "I know that now," Veronica whispered. "I found out 3 weeks ago. I saw a mail addressed to both of you. When I confronted him, he said it was complicated. That you were unstable and he was worried about how you'd react to the divorce. That he needed to handle you carefully." "Handle me," I repeated, like I was a problem to be managed. "Before you're here, if you're new here, hi love. I'm glad you made it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss stories that touch the heart." Veronica nodded. "He made you sound crazy. Obsessive. Like you've been clinging to a dead marriage, and he was trying to let you down easy." I believed every word because I loved him, because I thought we were building something real.
And now?
I asked. "Now I'm pregnant," she said, her voice breaking. 8 weeks. And when I told Tyler, he didn't react the way I expected.
He didn't seem happy.
He seemed angry.
Trapped.
He said the timing was terrible, that I needed to think about whether I was ready for this. He wouldn't say the word abortion, but that's what he meant. Something twisted in my chest. Not sympathy, exactly, but recognition. I knew that feeling. That moment when you realize the person you love sees you as an obstacle instead of a partner. "There's more," Veronica continued. "After I found out he'd lied about being divorced, I started paying attention to other things. Small things that didn't add up. And I found another phone. Not the one he uses with me. Another burner. My blood went cold. Another one? Messages to someone named Claire. Started about 4 months ago. Same pattern. Same promises. He's already planning his next exit, Elena. Once he's established in the VP role, once he has the credibility and connections, he's going to leave me the same way he left you. The man I married, the one I'd given 12 years to, wasn't just a cheater. He was a serial liar who saw women as stepping stones. Use them for what you need, discard them when they become inconvenient. Move on to the next one." "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because I saw you at that coffee shop," Veronica said. "I was waiting in Tyler's car, and I watched him come out looking like his world had just ended. I don't know what you showed him, but it scared him. And then he came back to the car and told me you were crazy, that you were making up lies to extort him, that I needed to be careful because you might try to contact me. But you don't believe that," I said. "No," she replied, "because crazy people don't make men like Tyler look that terrified. So, I did what you probably did. I started documenting everything. And I found proof that he's been using company funds for hotel stays. Corporate credit card charges that he's been coding as client entertainment. It's fraud, Elena. And if the company finds out, he won't just get fired. He could face criminal charges." "Why are you helping me?" I asked again. "You barely know me. I'm the wife he threw away. Why should you care?" Veronica looked at me, with tears streaming down her face. "Because I'm 8 weeks pregnant with a baby of a man who sees me as disposable. Because I gave up a job offer at another company to stay near him. Because I believed every lie. And because when I look at you, I see my future. In 10 years, that'll be me. Replaced. Invisible. Thrown away." She pulled out her phone and handed it to me. Screenshots. Photos. Bank statements. Everything Tyler had done to her. Everything he was planning to do to the next woman. "I need your help," she said. "And I think you need mine. Together, we can make sure he never does this to anyone else." I looked at this woman, This girl really, who'd helped destroy my marriage. Who'd believe Tyler's lies because he was good at lying. Who was carrying his child while he pressured her to get rid of it. And I made a decision. You're right, I told her. Alone, we're both just scorned women he can dismiss. But together we're a pattern. And patterns are impossible to ignore. And hey, while you're here, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you as part of the family. Go on, I'll wait. We sat on that bench for 2 more hours, building our strategy. Veronica would keep playing the supportive girlfriend while documenting everything. I would coordinate with Nathan and prepare the legal filing. And when the time was right, we'd hit Tyler from every angle at once. Personal, professional, legal, financial. He thought he could divide and conquer, keep us separate and manageable. He didn't count on us talking, didn't count on us comparing notes, didn't count on women being smart enough to see through his games. As Veronica left, she turned back to me one more time. I'm sorry, she said, for everything. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am genuinely sorry. I nodded. Me too. For both of us. That night, I called Nathan and told him about Veronica, about the pregnancy, about the other burner phone and Claire, about the company credit card fraud. This just got a lot bigger, Nathan said. We're not just talking about a divorce anymore. We're talking about destroying his entire life.
Good, I said.
That's exactly what I want. But Nathan hesitated. Elena, I need to ask, are you sure this is about justice? Or is this about revenge? I thought about that question. About 12 years of making myself smaller. About 3 cities I never wanted to live in. About the career I gave up. About the children we never had because Tyler always said later. About sitting alone at our anniversary dinner while he texted another woman. Does it matter? I asked. Yeah, Nathan said quietly. It does. Because revenge makes you feel good for a moment. But justice? Justice changes things. Makes sure he can't do this again. That's what we're building here. Not just payback.
Actual consequence.
He was right. This wasn't about hurting Tyler because he hurt me. This was about making sure Veronica didn't end up where I was in 10 years. Making sure Claire, whoever she was, didn't fall for the same lies. Making sure the next ambitious young woman at Tyler's company knew what happened to men who abused their power. Then let's build the case, I told Nathan. Everything. Every lie. Every violation. Every law he's broken. We're not just taking him down. We're making sure he stays down. Over the next 2 weeks, the case grew. Nathan's PI documented Tyler's relationship with Claire. Turned out she worked in HR at a subsidiary company. Tyler had met her at a corporate retreat and was already laying groundwork for his next move. The messages were almost identical to the ones he'd sent Veronica. You're so different from my wife. You understand me in ways she never could. Once I'm established in this new role, we can finally be together. It was a script, a playbook he ran on every woman. And he was good at it because he'd had so much practice. Veronica provided more evidence of the corporate credit card fraud. Thousands of dollars in charges for hotel rooms, dinners, weekend trips. All coded as business expenses. All completely personal. Nathan estimated Tyler had defrauded the company of at least $30,000 over 18 months. But the most damaging evidence came from a source I didn't expect. Isabel Torrance, the woman Tyler had sabotaged to get the VP position, reached out to Nathan directly. I heard through the legal community that you're building a case against Tyler Goodcat, she said in her email. I have information that might be useful.
Can we meet?
Isabel Torrance was everything Tyler probably feared. Smart. Prepared. Angry in the focused way that gets results instead of just making noise. We met at Nathan's office on a Wednesday afternoon. She brought her own lawyer and 3 folders of documentation. Thank you for meeting with me, she said, shaking my hand. I've been waiting 2 years for someone to finally hold Tyler accountable. Nathan gestured for everyone to sit. What do you have, Miss Torrance? Isabel opened the first folder. 2 years ago, I was the frontrunner for the VP of Operations position. I developed a comprehensive 5-year strategic plan that would have revolutionized our supply chain management. Months of work, research, Data analysis. It was going to be my signature achievement. She pulled out a document. This is my original proposal. Dated, submitted to the executive team for review. Now look at this. She pulled out a second document. Tyler's winning proposal. Dated 3 weeks after mine. Nathan and I compared them side by side. The language was different, but the strategies were nearly identical. Every major initiative.
Every timeline.
Every projected outcome.
He stole it, I said.
Worse, Isabel replied. He leaked my proposal to one of our competitors. They launched a similar initiative 2 weeks before my final presentation to the board. Suddenly, my groundbreaking plan looked derivative. Like I'd copied them instead of the other way around. My credibility was destroyed. How do you know Tyler leaked it? Nathan asked. Isabel opened the second folder. Email metadata. I had IT run a forensic analysis after I was passed over for promotion. Someone accessed my proposal from Tyler's computer login and forwarded it to an external email address. That address belongs to James Whitmore, VP of Operations at our main competitor. James and Tyler play golf together. Nathan let out a low whistle. This is industrial espionage. Corporate sabotage. Tyler could face serious legal consequences. There's more, Isabel said, opening the third folder. After Tyler got the promotion, I started documenting everything. Every decision he made.
Every policy he implemented.
Most of them came directly from my original proposal. He's been taking credit for my work for 2 years. Why didn't you come forward sooner? I asked. Isabel's expression hardened. Because I'm a woman in a male-dominated industry. If I'd accused Tyler without ironclad proof, I'd be labeled as bitter and difficult. A problem employee. My career would be over. So I waited, gathered evidence, built my case. And now I have everything I need. What do you want? Nathan asked directly.
Justice, Isabel said simply.
I want Tyler exposed for what he is. A fraud. A thief. A man who built his career on stolen work and sabotaged anyone who threatened him. And I want my reputation restored. She looked at me. I heard about your divorce. About what he did to you.
I'm sorry, Elena.
No one deserves that. But together, I think we can make sure Tyler Goodcat never hurts anyone again. By the way, if you're listening and feeling this story already, you might as well subscribe. Don't be shy, join us. Nathan laid out the strategy. We'd coordinate 3 simultaneous legal actions. Isabel would file a lawsuit against Tyler and the company for intellectual property theft and wrongful denial of promotion. I would file for divorce with full enforcement of the prenuptial infidelity clause. And Veronica would file a complaint with the company's ethics hotline about Tyler's relationship with her, the misuse of company funds, and the pressure to terminate her pregnancy. The timing was critical. We'd file everything the same day, 2 days before Tyler's big board meeting where he was scheduled to present his 5-year strategic vision. The same vision he'd stolen from Isabel. It'll be a massacre, Nathan said. Tyler won't know which fire to put out first. His marriage.
His job.
His reputation. All of it will implode simultaneously.
When?
I asked. Isabel checked her calendar. The board meeting is in 3 weeks. We filed 2 days before. That gives us time to finalize everything and coordinate with all parties. 3 weeks felt like an eternity. 3 more weeks of Tyler thinking he'd won. 3 more weeks of him planning his future with Veronica, or Claire, or whoever came next. 3 more weeks of him presenting himself as a respectable executive while lying to everyone around him. But Nathan was right about the timing. We needed Tyler to feel secure.
Confident.
Untouchable. Because the higher he climbed, the harder he'd fall. That night, I sat in my home office, the one Tyler never used because he always worked late at the actual office, allegedly, and I thought about the woman I used to be. The 26-year-old with ambitions and dreams. The one who believed in partnership and building something meaningful together. She'd been naive.
Trusting.
So desperate to be loved that she'd given up everything that made her who she was. And for what? For a man who saw her as a placeholder. A convenience. Something to be discarded when a better option came along. But I wasn't that woman anymore. The past 3 months had changed me. Hardened me. shown me exactly what I was capable of when I stopped trying to be small and started demanding the space I deserved. My phone buzzed. A text from Veronica. Tyler just asked me to move in with him. Said now that the divorce is almost finalized, we don't have to hide anymore. He wants to make our relationship official. I stared at the message. The audacity. The sheer arrogance of it. The divorce wasn't almost finalized. Tyler had made a lowball offer that I hadn't accepted. He was living in fantasy land, creating a narrative where everything was going according to his plan.
What did you say?
I texted back. I said yes, Veronica replied. The closer I am, the more evidence I can gather. He has no idea I'm documenting everything. Good, I wrote. Keep playing along. 3 more weeks. 3 more weeks until Tyler Goodcat's carefully constructed world came crashing down. 3 more weeks until he learned that the women he'd underestimated and discarded were smarter, stronger, and more dangerous than he ever imagined. I opened my laptop and pulled up the photo I'd taken of Tyler's burner phone messages. The ones where he called me boring, dead weight, an obstacle to his happiness. I'd read those messages 100 times, and each time they hurt a little less. Because pain only has power when you're alone with it. When you think you're the problem. When you believe the lies someone tells you about your worth. But I wasn't alone anymore. And I knew exactly what I was worth. 3 more weeks, I whispered to myself. And then Tyler would know too. The next 3 weeks were the longest of my life. Every day felt like walking a tightrope. One wrong move, one slip in my performance, and Tyler might suspect something. So I played my role perfectly. The devastated wife. The woman barely holding it together. I let mutual friends see me crying at coffee shops. I posted vague, sad quotes on social media about betrayal and new beginnings. I made sure everyone believed I was exactly what Tyler told them I was.
Broken. Lost.
Struggling to accept that my marriage was over. Behind the scenes, though, I was building an empire of evidence. Veronica moved into Tyler's apartment the second week. She called me that first night, whispering from the bathroom while Tyler watched television in the living room.
It's surreal, she said.
Being here, playing house with him, knowing what's coming. How are you holding up? I asked. I meant it. Despite everything, I'd started to care about Veronica. Not as a friend exactly, but as a fellow survivor. Someone who understood what it meant to be seen as disposable by a man who promised you everything. I'm okay, she said. Angry, mostly. Every time he touches me or says he loves me, I want to scream. But I keep smiling.
Keep documenting.
He has no idea. Veronica had been gathering evidence that was even more damaging than we'd expected. Tyler kept detailed records on his laptop. Spreadsheets tracking his expenses. Which ones he could claim as business costs. Which ones he'd have to hide. He'd literally created a fraud manual and kept it on his personal computer. She'd also recorded several conversations. Tyler on the phone with his lawyer, strategizing how to minimize what he'd have to pay me in the divorce. Tyler on the phone with James Whitmore, the competitor he'd leaked Isabel's plans to, laughing about how easy it had been to outmaneuver her. Tyler talking to Claire, the woman from HR, making plans for after he'd settled things with Veronica. He's already planning to leave me, Veronica told me during one of our secret phone calls. 6 months after the baby is born. That's his timeline. Establish himself in the VP role. Let things die down from the divorce. Then manufacture problems with me. Say I'm too needy, too demanding. That motherhood changed me. And move on to Claire. The pattern was so clear it was almost boring. Tyler didn't see women as people.
He saw us as assets.
Use what we could provide, whether it was support, status, or sex, and trade up when something better came along. Nathan worked with Isabel's lawyer to prepare the intellectual property lawsuit. They'd compiled forensic evidence of the email leak, comparative analysis of the strategic proposals, testimony from other employees who'd noticed similarities, and financial projections showing damages to Isabel's career and earning potential. This is a $50 million lawsuit, Nathan told me during one of our strategy sessions. The company will settle. They have to. The evidence is overwhelming. And when they settle with Isabel, they'll have to fire Tyler. No company keeps an executive who costs them $50 million. What about criminal charges? I asked. For the fraud. The corporate credit card misuse. Nathan nodded. That's where Veronica's evidence comes in. Once the company fires Tyler, they'll turn over everything to law enforcement. Fraud at this level, corporate espionage, it's serious. Tyler could face prison time.
Prison.
The word hung in the air.
Part of me felt sick.
This was the man I'd loved. The man I'd married. The man I'd built a life with, even if that life had been a lie. But another part of me, the part that had sat alone at our anniversary dinner, the part that had read those messages calling me boring and dead weight, that part felt nothing but cold satisfaction. If you're watching this and haven't subscribed yet, don't break my heart like that.
Tap the button.
Let's keep growing together. 2 days before the board meeting, everything was ready. Isabel's lawsuit was prepared and ready to file. My divorce petition with full evidence was ready to file. Veronica's ethics complaint was written and ready to submit. We'd coordinated timing down to the hour. That morning, I woke up before dawn. Couldn't sleep. Kept running through everything in my mind. What if Tyler found out somehow? What if he had a contingency planned we hadn't anticipated? What if this all backfired and I ended up looking like the crazy ex-wife he told everyone I was? Nathan called at 7 a.m. You ready for this? I think so, I said. Are you? Elena, he said, and his voice was serious. Once we do this, there's no going back. Tyler's life is going to be destroyed. His career. His reputation. His freedom, potentially. I need to know you're sure. I thought about the woman I'd been 3 months ago. The one who'd found that burner phone and had to decide what kind of person she was going to be. The one who could have confronted Tyler, could have screamed and cried and begged him to choose her. The one who could have accepted his insulting settlement offer and disappeared quietly. But I hadn't been that woman. I'd chosen differently. I'd chosen to fight, to document, to build a case, to make sure Tyler faced real consequences for treating people as disposable. I'm sure, I told Nathan. Let's burn it all down. At 8 a.m., Isabel's lawyer filed the lawsuit in federal court. Intellectual property theft, corporate sabotage, wrongful denial of promotion, $50 million in damages. Within minutes, it was served to Tyler's company's legal department. At 8:15, Nathan filed my divorce petition. Full enforcement of the prenuptial infidelity clause. 60% of all marital assets. $5,000 a month in alimony for 5 years. Attached were 300 pages of evidence. Text messages. Photos. Financial records. Everything. It was served to Tyler at his office. Nathan had arranged for a process server to walk into Tyler's building, ask for him by name, and hand him the papers in front of his assistant and 2 junior employees. At 9 a.m., Veronica submitted her ethics complaint through the company's anonymous hotline. But she also sent a copy directly to the CEO's office with her name attached. She detailed the affair, the misuse of company funds, Tyler's pressure for her to terminate her pregnancy, and included copies of receipts, photos, and text messages. At 9:30, Nathan texted me. It's done. All filed. All served. Now we wait. I sat in my home office, the same office where I'd planned all of this, and I felt something I hadn't felt in 12 years.
Power.
Not over Tyler. Over myself. Over my own life. Over my own future. My phone started ringing. Friends calling, asking if I'd heard that Tyler had been served with divorce papers at work. Asking if I was okay. Asking if there was anything they could do. I answered each call with a shaky voice and tears. Yes, I'd finally worked up the courage to file. Yes, it was terrifying. Yes, I could use their support. I played the role one more time. The broken wife gathering courage to leave her powerful husband. But inside, I was steel. At noon, Nathan called again. Tyler's lawyer just reached out. He wants to talk. Wants to negotiate. Already? I asked, surprised. It's only been 4 hours. Isabel's lawsuit hit the news, Nathan said. It's all over the industry websites. Major corporation facing $50 million IP theft lawsuit. Tyler's name is in every headline. His company is in crisis mode. And your divorce filing has documentation of his affair with a subordinate, which violates their ethics policy. They're realizing they have to fire him or face even bigger liability. What does Tyler's lawyer want? To settle everything quietly.
Fast.
Before it gets worse. He's offering you 70% of assets and $6,000 a month in alimony. I laughed. Actually laughed. That's more than we asked for. Because he's desperate, Nathan said. Elena, I think he knows he's about to lose everything.
His job.
His reputation. Possibly his freedom. He needs to settle the divorce and make you go away before you testify in Isabel's lawsuit or the criminal investigation.
Tell him no, I said.
No? Nathan repeated, surprised. Elena, this is a great offer. Better than we expected. I don't want his money, I said. I want him to admit what he did. In writing. Every lie. Every betrayal. Every manipulation. I want him to acknowledge it. And then I'll consider settling. There was a long pause. That's not about the money anymore, Nathan said quietly. No, I agreed. It's not. It's about making sure he can't pretend this never happened. Can't rewrite history and paint himself as the victim. I want the truth on record. In his own words. And then I want him to live with knowing that truth is out there. I'll tell his lawyer, Nathan said. But Elena? Tyler might not agree. He might fight. This could get ugly. Let it get ugly, I said. I'm not afraid anymore. That afternoon, Tyler tried to call me directly. 17 times. I didn't answer. He sent texts. Elena, please. We need to talk. This is getting out of control. We can still fix this. Please call me back. Each message more desperate than the last. Each one a tiny crack in the facade he'd built. The confident VP. The man in control. The one who always had a plan. His plan was falling apart. And he knew it. At 5 p.m., the news broke that Tyler had been suspended pending an ethics investigation. The company released a carefully worded statement about taking all allegations seriously and conducting a thorough review. Suspended. Not fired yet, but close. Tyler's professional reputation was crumbling in real time. Veronica texted me. He's losing it. Throwing things. Screaming at his lawyer. He keeps saying you're destroying him. That you're a vindictive bitch who can't accept that the marriage is over. He has no idea I'm part of this. Stay safe, I texted back. If you feel threatened at all, leave. Go to a hotel. I'll cover the cost. I'm okay, she replied. He's not violent. Just desperate. And honestly, watching him fall apart is almost worth everything he put me through. That night, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on my back patio, watching the sun set over Dallas. Tomorrow was Tyler's board meeting, the one where he was supposed to present his 5-year strategic vision. The vision he'd stolen from Isabel. Except now, everyone knew it was stolen. The lawsuit had detailed everything. The board meeting was canceled. Tyler's career was effectively over. And in 2 days, when the company's investigation concluded, he'd be fired for cause. Which meant returning his $150,000 signing bonus. Which meant no references.
No severance.
No golden parachute. Just consequences.
Pure, inevitable consequences.
My phone buzzed one more time. A text from an unknown number. You don't know what you've done. You've destroyed my life. I hope you're happy. Tyler. Using a new number because I'd blocked all his others. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back a single sentence. You destroyed your own life. I just made sure everyone could see it. I blocked the new number and finished my wine. Tomorrow, everything would change. For Tyler. For Veronica. For Isabel. For me. And I was ready. The next morning, Tyler's world collapsed. At 8 a.m., the company's general counsel called an emergency meeting. Tyler, his direct supervisor, the CEO, and HR. Nathan had a contact inside who texted me updates in real time. They showed him everything. Isabel's lawsuit with forensic evidence of the email leak. Veronica's ethics complaint with receipts proving fraud. My divorce filing with documentation of the affair and misuse of company resources. 300 pages of evidence that Tyler Goodcat was a liar, a cheat, and a thief. You're terminated, effective immediately, the general counsel said. For cause. We need your badge, your laptop, your phone, and any company property. Security will escort you out. Tyler tried to argue. Tried to claim the evidence was fabricated. That this was a coordinated attack by vengeful women who couldn't accept his success. But the company wasn't listening. They had liability to worry about. A $50 million lawsuit. Potential criminal charges for corporate fraud. They needed to distance themselves from Tyler as fast as possible. He was walked out of the building at 9:15 a.m., carrying a cardboard box with his personal items. Security on either side of him. Employees watching from windows and doorways. The VP who'd risen so fast, falling even faster. Nathan called me as it was happening. It's done. He's fired. The company is cooperating fully with Isabel's lawsuit and turning over all financial records to law enforcement for the fraud investigation. How did he look? I asked. I shouldn't have cared. But I did. Destroyed, Nathan said quietly. Like a man watching his entire life burn down. Which I guess he is. I should have felt victorious. Triumphant. This was what I'd planned for. What I'd worked toward for 3 months. Tyler losing everything, just like he'd planned for me to lose everything. But sitting there in my home office, all I felt was empty. 12 years of my life.
Gone.
Not just the marriage, but the person I'd been. The dreams I'd had. The future I'd imagined. All of it erased by a man who saw me as disposable. Veronica called an hour later. He came back to the apartment. Packed his things. He's moving in with his parents. Can you believe it? A 40-year-old VP, fired and divorced, moving back in with his parents. How are you doing? I asked. She was quiet for a moment.
I'm scared.
About the baby. About doing this alone. About whether I made the right choice helping you. But then I remember that burner phone with messages to Claire. Remember him telling me to terminate the pregnancy. And I know I did the right thing. You're not alone, I told her. I meant it. We'll figure this out together. That afternoon, Tyler's lawyer called Nathan with a new settlement offer. Tyler would give me everything I'd asked for. 70% of assets. $6,000 a month in alimony. All legal fees covered. And the written admission I'd demanded. Every lie. Every betrayal. Acknowledged in his own handwriting. He's signing it right now, Tyler's lawyer said. He just wants this over. Nathan sent me a photo of the document. Tyler's signature at the bottom. Above it, in his handwriting, a confession. I, Tyler Goodcat, admit that I engaged in an extramarital affair with Veronica Chen while married to Elena Ripley. I lied about my income and bonuses. I misused company resources for personal gain. I planned to divorce my wife the moment I received my promotion and signing bonus. I betrayed her trust and violated our marriage vows. I take full responsibility for my actions. Reading those words, seeing them in his handwriting, something inside me finally broke open. Not with pain, with release. For 12 years, I'd carried the weight of our failing marriage. Wondered what I'd done wrong. How I could have been better. More interesting. More worthy of his attention.
But it was never about me. It was always about him.
His selfishness.
His lies.
His inability to see people as anything other than tools for his advancement. Accept it, I told Nathan. Let's finish this. The divorce was finalized within a week. Fastest settlement Nathan had ever processed. Tyler was desperate to close every legal vulnerability before the criminal investigation ramped up. I walked out of the courthouse with a check for $420,000. My share of our assets, including the signing bonus Tyler had to return to his company and his 401k. Plus the first month's alimony payment. Nathan stood beside me on the courthouse steps. How does it feel? He asked. Like the end of something, I said. But also like a beginning. That night, I met Veronica for dinner. Our first time in public together, not hiding in parks or talking on burner phones. She was showing now, a small bump visible under her loose sweater. I ordered something for the baby, she said, showing me her phone. A crib. I found a tiny apartment I can afford. It's not much, but it's mine.
No, Tyler.
No lies. Just me and this little one. What about work? I asked. Isabel offered me a position, Veronica said, and her eyes filled with tears. At her new company.
She's a VP there now.
Got hired 3 days after her lawsuit settlement. She said she wanted to help me the way you helped me.
Give me a chance to rebuild.
My chest tightened. Isabel had settled her lawsuit for $18 million. The company admitted wrongdoing, paid damages, and issued a public apology. She'd taken that money and moved to a competitor, got a VP position, and was now using her power to help other women.
That's amazing, I said.
She wants to meet you, Veronica said. Said she'd like to thank you in person for standing up to Tyler. That if you hadn't filed for divorce when you did, her lawsuit might not have had enough momentum. Before we continue, can I ask a tiny favor? Hit that subscribe button. It means more than you know. We met Isabel the following week. She was impressive in person. Confident.
Direct.
The kind of woman Tyler probably feared because he couldn't manipulate her. Elena, she said, shaking my hand.
I've heard so much about you. Thank you.
For everything. I didn't do it for you, I said honestly. I did it for me. I know, Isabel replied. But the result is the same. Tyler Goodcat can't hurt anyone else. His reputation is destroyed. He's facing criminal charges. And 3 women he tried to throw away are thriving. That's not revenge. That's justice. She was right. This was bigger than my marriage. Bigger than Tyler's affair. It was about power. About men who think they can use women and discard them without consequence. About showing that pattern, making it visible, refusing to be silent. What happens now? Veronica asked. With the criminal case? Isabel's expression hardened. The prosecutor has everything. The fraud. The corporate espionage. Tyler's looking at 3 to 5 years if convicted. His lawyer is trying to negotiate a plea deal. Will he take it? I asked.
Probably, Isabel said.
He doesn't have much choice. The evidence is overwhelming. He'll plead guilty to fraud, get a reduced sentence, and spend a couple years in minimum security prison. Then he'll have to rebuild his life as a convicted felon. No more executive positions. No more corner offices. Just consequences.
Good, I said.
And I meant it. The 3 of us sat in that restaurant, 3 women from completely different places in life, brought together by one man's selfishness. But we'd taken that pain and turned it into power. Into alliance.
Into change.
My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I know this is you. All of you. Working together to destroy me. I hope you're proud of yourselves. Tyler. Still trying to make himself the victim. Still unable to see that he'd destroyed himself. I showed the text to Isabel and Veronica. Should I respond? I asked. No, Isabel said firmly. He doesn't deserve any more of your energy. Block the number.
Move on.
Let him sit with his choices. She was right. Tyler had taken 12 years of my life. I wasn't giving him another second. I blocked the number and put my phone away. Then I raised my glass. To new beginnings, I said. Isabel and Veronica raised theirs. To justice, Isabel added. To surviving, Veronica said quietly. We drank to all of it. To endings and beginnings. To pain and healing. To the women we'd been and the women we were becoming. Outside, the Dallas sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and pink. Beautiful and temporary like everything else. But for the first time in 12 years, I wasn't afraid of temporary. I wasn't afraid of change. I wasn't afraid of being alone. Because I wasn't alone. Not anymore. 3 weeks after the divorce was finalized, reality set in. The adrenaline of bringing Tyler down had carried me through the legal proceedings. The anger had fueled me. The sense of purpose had kept me moving forward. But now, sitting in my house with the settlement money in my bank account and no Tyler to fight against, I felt lost. I was 38 years old. No career for 12 years. No children. No husband. No plan for what came next. Just a bank account and a lot of empty space where my life used to be. The house felt too big without Tyler. I'd walk through rooms we'd furnished together and feel ghosts of who we'd been. Or who I'd thought we'd been. Every corner held a memory that turned out to be a lie. My mother called every few days. She meant well, but her questions made everything worse. Are you eating? Are you sleeping? Have you thought about what you're going to do now? Maybe you could move back home for a while. Just until you figure things out. Moving back home at 38 felt like admitting defeat. Like Tyler had won after all. He destroyed my life so completely that I had to retreat to my childhood bedroom and start over from scratch. I'm fine, I told my mother. I'm figuring it out. But I wasn't fine. And I had no idea how to figure it out. The marketing industry had changed completely in 12 years. Social media platforms, I barely understood. Analytics tools I'd never used. Strategies and techniques that didn't exist when I'd left the field. My resume looked ancient. My skills felt obsolete. And my confidence was non-existent. I applied to a few positions anyway. Entry-level because I couldn't compete for anything higher. I heard back from exactly zero. Not even a rejection email. Just silence.
Like I didn't exist.
Some nights, I sat in my home office and wondered if I'd made a mistake. If I should have just taken Tyler's original settlement offer and disappeared quietly. At least then I wouldn't be drowning in this strange combination of victory and emptiness. I'd won. I destroyed Tyler's career and made him face consequences. But I was still alone. Still directionless. Still trying to figure out who Elena Ripley was when she wasn't defined by being Tyler Goodcat's wife. Veronica called one evening. She sounded tired. The pregnancy was getting harder. Morning sickness that lasted all day. Exhaustion that never lifted. And underneath it all, fear about doing this alone. I can't believe I'm having a baby, she said. Tyler's baby. A permanent connection to the worst mistake of my life. It's not a mistake, I told her, trying to sound supportive. It's your child. That's separate from Tyler. Is it though? Veronica asked. Every time I look at this baby, I'm going to remember him. Remember how stupid I was. How easily I believed his lies. You weren't stupid, I said firmly. You were trusting. There's a difference. But I heard the doubt in my own voice. Because sometimes late at night, I wondered the same thing about myself. How had I not seen Tyler for what he was? How had I wasted 12 years on a man who saw me as disposable? What did that say about me? About my judgment? About my worth? And hey, while you're here, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you as part of the family. Go on, I'll wait. The criminal case against Tyler was moving forward. The prosecutor was confident. Corporate fraud. Misuse of company resources. The evidence was overwhelming. But Tyler's lawyer was fighting hard, trying to get charges reduced or dismissed. Trying to paint Tyler as a man who made mistakes but didn't deserve to have his life destroyed. Nathan called with updates. Tyler's asking for a plea deal. Reduced charges. Probation instead of prison time. He's claiming financial hardship, emotional distress, that he's already lost everything. Has he lost everything? I asked. Really? His career, Nathan said. His reputation. His marriage. His signing bonus. He's working part-time at a consulting firm for a fraction of his VP salary. Living with his parents. Fighting off creditors. So yeah, I'd say he's lost a lot.
But not his freedom, I said. Not yet.
The prosecutor is pushing for prison time, Nathan assured me. Even with a plea deal, Tyler's probably looking at 18 months minimum. It's not 5 years, but it's something. 18 months felt like nothing compared to 12 years. 12 years I'd given him. 12 years he'd stolen from me. 18 months, and then he'd be free to rebuild. To start over. To find another woman to manipulate. Meanwhile, I was 38 with no career and no idea how to rebuild my own life. One night, I broke down completely. Sat on my kitchen floor surrounded by job rejection emails and cried until I couldn't breathe. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I'd won. I'd gotten justice. I'd made Tyler face consequences. So why did I still feel like I'd lost?
My phone rang.
I almost didn't answer, but I saw Isabel's name and picked up.
Elena? She said.
Are you okay? You sound upset. I'm fine, I lied, wiping my face even though she couldn't see me. No, you're not, Isabel said gently.
Talk to me.
What's going on? And somehow, talking to this woman I barely knew, I found myself telling the truth. About feeling lost. About the job rejections. About wondering if destroying Tyler's life had been worth it when mine still felt destroyed too. Isabel listened quietly. Then she said, "Can I tell you something? When Tyler stole my work and sabotaged my promotion, I spent 6 months in the darkest place I've ever been. I questioned everything about myself. My abilities. My worth. My judgment. I felt like a failure even though I'd done nothing wrong. Even though he was the one who cheated and lied. That's exactly how I feel," I whispered.
I know, Isabel said.
Because that's what men like Tyler do. They don't just betray you. They make you doubt yourself. Make you think you're the problem. That you're not smart enough, not interesting enough, not worthy enough. It's gaslighting on a massive scale. So, how did you get past it?
I asked.
I didn't, Isabel said honestly. I mean, I'm still working on it. Some days are better than others. But what helped was realizing that my worth isn't tied to what Tyler did or didn't do. I'm valuable because of who I am, what I've accomplished, the skills I have. Tyler stealing my work doesn't make me less brilliant. It just makes him a thief.
I don't feel brilliant, I said.
I feel obsolete. Then we need to change that, Isabel replied. Elena, you haven't worked in 12 years because you were supporting Tyler's career. That's not a gap in your resume. That's a sacrifice you made. And the skills you had 12 years ago? They're still there. You just need to update them and remember how good you were.
I don't even know where to start, I admitted. Start by coming to work for me, Isabel said.
I sat up straight.
What?
I need a marketing consultant, she continued. Someone to help build brand awareness for my division. It's contract work, flexible hours, and I can pay you well. Plus, you'll get current experience, rebuild your portfolio, and remember what it feels like to be valued for your skills. Isabel, I can't, I started. Yes, you can, she interrupted. Elena, you helped me get justice. You stood up when it mattered.
Let me help you now.
Take the contract. Prove to yourself that you're still that brilliant marketer you were before Tyler made you think you were nothing. I thought about Tyler's messages on that burner phone. Calling me boring. Dead weight. Saying I'd let myself go and didn't contribute anything. I'd read those words so many times they'd started to feel true. But they weren't true. They were lies from a man who needed to diminish me to justify his betrayal. And I'd spent 3 months proving how not diminished I was. I'd built a case. Coordinated with lawyers and investigators. Destroyed Tyler's entire career. That took intelligence. Strategy. Strength. Maybe it was time to remember that I had value beyond being someone's wife. Okay, I told Isabel. I'll take the contract. Thank you.
Don't thank me, she said.
You earned this. Now go get some sleep. We start Monday. That night, for the first time in weeks, I slept through until morning. No nightmares about Tyler. No anxiety about the future. Just sleep. Deep and dreamless and necessary. When I woke up, I had a text from Veronica. Tyler's taking the plea deal. 18 months in minimum security prison. Guilty plea to corporate fraud. It's over, Elena. We won. I stared at the message. 18 months. Then Tyler would be free. But he'd be a convicted felon. He'd have a criminal record. He'd never work in corporate America again. His career was over permanently, not just temporarily.
And me?
I had a contract position with Isabel. A chance to rebuild my career. A future that wasn't tied to Tyler's choices anymore. I texted back. We didn't just win. We survived. And that's better. Monday morning, I drove to Isabel's company for my first day as a marketing consultant. I'd spent the weekend updating my portfolio, researching current marketing trends, and trying not to panic about whether I could actually do this. Isabel met me in the lobby. She looked powerful in a navy suit and heels. Confident. Exactly what I wanted to be. Ready? She asked with a smile. Terrified, I admitted, but ready. She led me to a bright, modern office space. My office for the duration of the contract. Computer already set up. Welcome packet waiting on the desk. It felt real. Professional. Like I was someone who mattered again. Your first project, Isabel said, handing me a folder. We're launching a new product line in 3 months. I need a comprehensive marketing strategy. Target demographics, channel selection, messaging framework, budget allocation. Everything. I opened the folder and started reading. Market research, competitive analysis, product specifications. My brain immediately started connecting dots, seeing opportunities, building strategy. This is good, I said, my mind already racing. The product has unique features that differentiate it from competitors. We can position it as premium without being pretentious. Target professionals aged 25 to 45. Heavy emphasis on digital channels, but with strategic print placement in industry publications. Isabel grinned.
See?
You've still got it. Now go build me something brilliant. I spent the next 3 weeks completely immersed in work. For the first time in 12 years, I had something that was mine. Not Tyler's career that I was supporting. Not a house to maintain or dinners to host. Just my work. My ideas. My value. The marketing strategy came together beautifully. I created comprehensive campaigns for social media, email, content marketing, and traditional advertising. I built partnerships with industry influencers. I designed a launch event that would generate buzz and media coverage. Isabel reviewed my proposal and looked up with genuine admiration. Elena, this is exceptional. Better than I expected. Better than anything my previous consultants have delivered. Really? I asked, trying not to sound as desperate for validation as I felt. Really, she confirmed. I'm extending your contract. 6 more months. And I'm increasing your rate. You've earned it. That night, I called Veronica to share the news. She was 7 months pregnant now, preparing for the baby's arrival in January. She'd settled into her new job at Isabel's company and was doing well, building a life that didn't include Tyler. That's amazing, Elena, she said. I'm so proud of you. You're proof that we don't need men like Tyler to be successful. We never did. How are you feeling? I asked. About the baby. About everything. Scared, she admitted. But also excited. I'm starting to realize this baby isn't Tyler's legacy. It's mine. A chance to raise someone better than he was. To teach this child about integrity and honesty and treating people with respect. You're going to be an amazing mother, I told her. And you're not doing it alone. I'm here. Isabel's here. We're your family now. I know, Veronica said softly. And I'm so grateful. For all of it. Even the hard parts. Because they brought me to this place.
To you.
To a life I actually want. By the way, if you're listening and feeling this story already, you might as well subscribe. Don't be shy, join us. A month later, the prosecutor called Nathan. Tyler's sentencing hearing was scheduled. He wanted to know if I planned to attend. I don't know, I told Nathan honestly. Part of me wants to see him face consequences. But another part just wants to move on. Forget he exists. It's your choice, Nathan said. But I think there's power in being there. In looking him in the eye and showing him that you're thriving while he's losing everything. That his attempt to destroy you failed. I thought about it for days. Talked to Isabel and Veronica. Read articles about victim impact statements and the importance of closure. And finally, I decided. I would go. Not for Tyler. For me. To close this chapter completely and walk away knowing I'd stood up for myself until the very end. The sentencing hearing was on a cold December morning. I wore a gray suit, professional and composed. Nathan sat beside me. Isabel and Veronica sat behind us. A wall of women Tyler had tried to throw away. Tyler was broad and wearing an orange jumpsuit. He'd lost weight, looked older. The confident VP was gone. In his place was a broken man who'd finally run out of lies. The prosecutor read the charges. Corporate fraud. Misuse of company funds. Tyler's lawyer made a final plea for leniency. talking about Tyler's remorse, his cooperation, his destroyed career and reputation, asking the judge for minimum sentencing. Then the judge asked if anyone wanted to make a victim impact statement. I stood up. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. Your Honor, I said. My name is Elena Ripley. I was married to Tyler Goodcat for 12 years. And I want to say something about the man standing before you today.
Tyler looked at me.
Really looked at me for the first time in years. I held his gaze. Tyler didn't just steal from his company. I continued.
He stole from me 12 years of my life.
My career. My confidence. My sense of self-worth. He made me believe I was nothing without him. That I was boring and dead weight, and lucky he stayed as long as he did. But standing here today, I realize he was wrong. I wasn't nothing. I was someone who believed in partnership and loyalty and building something meaningful together. And he took advantage of that. Used it. Threw it away when something shinier came along. I paused, gathering my thoughts. The courtroom was completely silent. Tyler's fraud at his company is one crime, I said. But his fraud in our marriage was another. He lied every single day. Pretended to love me while planning to leave me. Stole money that should have supported our family and used it to support his affair. And when I finally stood up for myself, he tried to paint me as crazy and vindictive. But I'm not crazy, Your Honor. I'm a woman who refused to be discarded without consequence. Who documented everything and built a case and made sure Tyler faced justice. And I'm proud of that. I turned to look at Tyler directly. I'm proud that I'm not you. That I don't use people and throw them away. That I don't lie and cheat and steal to get what I want. I'm proud that, even after everything you did, I'm still standing here with integrity. And you're standing there in an orange jumpsuit, facing prison time for your crimes. Tyler's eyes filled with tears. But I felt nothing.
No satisfaction. No anger.
Nothing. He was just a man who'd made terrible choices and now had to live with them. I hope you learned something in prison, I said. I hope you learned that people aren't disposable. That actions have consequences. That you can't build a life on lies and expect it to stand. I sat down. Nathan squeezed my hand. Behind me, Veronica was crying quietly. The judge sentenced Tyler to 2 years in federal prison. Longer than the plea deal recommended. Plus 3 years probation after release. Community service. Restitution payments to the company he defrauded. Tyler Goodcat, the judge said, you abused your position of power. You stole from your employer. You manipulated and betrayed people who trusted you. The court shows you the same mercy you showed your victims. Which is to say, very little. Tyler was led away. He looked back once at me, and I saw something in his face I'd never seen before. Regret. Real, genuine regret. But it was too late for regret. The time for that was 12 years ago when he first started lying. When he first started seeing me as something to use instead of someone to love. Outside the courthouse, snow was falling. Light and clean and beautiful. Veronica hugged me tight. You were amazing in there, she said. So strong. We're all strong, I told her. We survived him. That's the strongest thing we could do. Isabel pulled up in her car.
Get in, she said.
We're celebrating. Lunch at the best restaurant in town. My treat. The 3 of us drove through Dallas as snow covered the city. 3 women from completely different places, brought together by one man's cruelty, now building something new together. Not friendship, exactly. Something deeper. Sisterhood forged in survival. At the restaurant, Isabel raised her glass. To justice, she said. To new beginnings, I added. To the family we choose, Veronica finished. We drank to all of it. And, for the first time in 12 years, I felt free. 6 months later, everything had changed. Not overnight. Not in some dramatic movie moment. But slowly, steadily, like winter melting into spring. I was still working for Isabel, but my role had expanded. Marketing consultant had become marketing director. My campaigns were winning awards. Companies were reaching out, asking if I'd take them on as clients. The career I'd given up 12 years ago was roaring back to life, stronger than before. Veronica had her baby in January. A girl she named Maya. Beautiful and perfect and nothing like Tyler except for her dark eyes. I was there when Maya was born, holding Veronica's hand through contractions, crying when I first held that tiny human who represented hope instead of hurt. Tyler's watching all of this from prison, Veronica said one day while we watched Maya sleep in her crib. Knowing his daughter is growing up without him. That he'll miss her first smile, first word, first steps. All because of choices he made. Do you regret keeping her? I asked carefully. It's okay if you do sometimes. Veronica shook her head. Never. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. The thing that made me strong enough to walk away from him. I regret Tyler. But never her. Maya became the center of our little chosen family. Isabel was the successful aunt who showed up with expensive gifts and career advice. I was the one who babysat when Veronica needed sleep, who helped with midnight feedings, who bought every parenting book and read them aloud while Veronica tried to keep her eyes open. We'd started having dinners together every Sunday. The three of us, plus Maya. Cooking together in my house or Veronica's apartment or Isabel's modern condo. Sharing stories about our week. Building something that felt like family even though we weren't related by blood. This is what Tyler never understood, Isabel said one Sunday over pasta. That women aren't competition. We're not threats to each other. When we work together, when we support each other, we're unstoppable. She was right. Separately, Tyler had been able to manipulate each of us. But together, we destroyed him. My mother visited that spring. She walked through my house, saw my home office with marketing plans spread across the desk, saw the photos on my walls of me with Isabel and Veronica and baby Maya, and she smiled.
You look happy, she said.
Really happy. Not the fake happy you used to do when Tyler was around. I am happy, I told her. Finally. I'm proud of you, my mother said, hugging me tight. For standing up. For fighting back. For not letting him write your ending. That was the moment I realized I'd actually done it. I'd rebuilt my life. Not the life I'd planned with Tyler. Something completely different. Something better. In June, I got a call from a major marketing firm in New York. They'd seen my work, heard about my campaigns for Isabel's company, and wanted to offer me a position. VP of Marketing. 6-figure salary. Relocation package. Everything. It was the job I'd dreamed about when I was 26. Before Tyler. Before the moves and sacrifices and years of making myself smaller. This was the life I could have had. I told them I needed time to think about it. That night, I called Isabel and Veronica and told them about the offer. They were both quiet for a long moment. New York, Veronica said finally. That's amazing, Elena. You should take it. Is it what you want, though? Isabel asked. Or is it what you think you're supposed to want? I don't know, I admitted. A year ago, I would have said yes immediately. But now, I have this life here. This family. You too. Maya. Work I love. I'm not sure I want to give that up. Then don't, Isabel said simply. Elena, you spent 12 years doing what Tyler wanted. Don't spend the next 12 doing what you think you should do. Do what actually makes you happy. Settle in, get comfortable. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. You're safe here. I turned down the New York job. Instead, I started my own marketing consultancy. Small at first, just me and a home office. But within 3 months, I had 6 clients. Within 6 months, I needed to hire help. Within a year, I had a team of 5, and we were turning away business. I built something that was entirely mine. Not supported by a husband. Not dependent on someone else's career. Just me, my skills, and the determination to prove I was never dead weight. Never boring. Never nothing. Tyler was released from prison after 18 months for good behavior. I heard through mutual contacts that he'd moved to another state. Was working in warehouse management. Living in a small apartment. Trying to rebuild from nothing. He tried to contact Veronica once. Asked to meet Maya. Veronica blocked his number and filed for full custody. Tyler didn't fight it. What could he say? That he deserved to be in his daughter's life after pressuring her mother to terminate the pregnancy? After going to prison for fraud? After destroying every relationship he'd ever had. Maya turned 2. We threw her a birthday party at my house. Balloons and cake and presents everywhere. Isabel brought her a toy kitchen that cost more than my first car. I bought books and art supplies. Veronica cried happy tears watching her daughter laugh and play, surrounded by people who loved her. This is what family looks like, I thought. Not perfect, not traditional, but real. Built on choice instead of obligation. On support instead of control. On love that wasn't conditional or manipulative. 3 years after I'd found that burner phone in Tyler's gym bag, I stood in my backyard watching the sunset and realized I was completely, genuinely happy. Not pretending. Not performing. Actually content with the life I'd built. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I knew who it was before I even opened it. I saw photos of Maya's birthday party on social media. She's beautiful. I'm sorry I missed it. I'm sorry for everything. I was a fool. You deserved so much better than what I gave you. I hope you found happiness. Tyler. I read the message 3 times, waiting to feel something. Anger. Satisfaction. Vindication. But all I felt was indifference. Tyler had become irrelevant to my life. A chapter that was closed. A lesson I'd learned. Nothing more. I didn't respond. Didn't block the number. Just closed the message and went back inside where Isabel and Veronica were cleaning up wrapping paper while Maya played with her new toys. Was that him? Veronica asked, seeing my face.
Yeah, I said. Apologizing.
Asking about Maya. Being pathetic. Are you okay?
Isabel asked.
I'm perfect, I told them honestly. Because I am. And he's not my problem anymore. That night, after everyone had gone home, I sat on my couch with a glass of wine and thought about the woman I'd been 3 years ago. The one who'd found that burner phone and had to choose who she was going to be. She'd chosen strength. She'd chosen justice. She'd chosen herself. And that choice had led here. To this house. This career. This family. This life. All of it built on the ruins of what Tyler had tried to take from me. People always talk about revenge like it's this dark, corrupting thing. Like standing up for yourself makes you as bad as the person who hurt you. But that's not true. Demanding consequences isn't revenge. It's self-respect. It's refusing to be erased. It's saying my pain matters, my life matters, I matter. Tyler took 12 years from me. But in the end, I took everything from him. His career, his reputation, his freedom, his future. And I didn't feel guilty about it. Because he'd earned every consequence he faced. The difference between us was simple. I'd hurt him because he'd hurt me first. Because he'd lied and cheated and stolen and manipulated. Because he'd treated people as disposable and needed to learn they weren't. But Tyler? He'd hurt me just because he could. Because it was convenient. Because I was in the way of what he wanted. That's the difference between justice and cruelty. One is earned. The other is arbitrary. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Tyler. Please, Elena. Can we talk? I've changed. Prison changed me. I'm not the same person anymore. I deleted the message. Blocked the number. Tyler could be changed or unchanged. It didn't matter. He wasn't my responsibility. He wasn't my problem. He was just someone I used to know who taught me exactly how strong I could be when I needed to. For years after my divorce, I met someone new. His name was James. He was a client first, then a friend, then something more. He asked about my past, and I told him everything. About Tyler. About the burner phone. About the case I'd built, and the revenge I'd taken. I'm a little terrified of you, he said with a smile. But also incredibly impressed. You're the strongest person I've ever met. Not strong, I corrected. Just done being walked on. Same thing, he said. James was different from Tyler. He listened when I talked. Celebrated my successes without feeling threatened. Never asked me to be smaller or quieter or less ambitious. He was partnership in the way I'd always imagined it but never actually experienced. We took things slow. No rushing into cohabitation or marriage. No grand promises about forever. Just two people building something together at a pace that felt right. Veronica met someone too. Another single parent she'd connected with at Maya's preschool. Someone kind who knew about her past with Tyler and didn't judge her for it. Someone who loved Maya like his own and showed Veronica what a real relationship looked like. Isabel stayed happily single, focused on her career and her mentorship of young women in the industry. She'd turned her pain into purpose, helping others avoid the traps she'd fallen into. The three of us stayed close. Weekly dinners, holidays together, emergency phone calls when life got hard. We'd survived Tyler together, and that bond was unbreakable. 5 years after I'd filed for divorce, I went back to that coffee shop where I'd confronted Tyler with the evidence, sat at the same table, ordered the same coffee, and looked around at the people going about their lives, unaware that this spot had been the scene of someone's entire world collapsing. My phone buzzed. Not Tyler this time. James, asking if I wanted to get dinner.
Isabelle, sharing a funny meme.
Veronica, sending photos of Maya's latest art project. I responded to all of them, made plans, laughed at jokes, admired finger paintings, living a life that was full and rich and entirely mine. Tyler had tried to write my ending, had tried to discard me and move on like I'd never mattered. But I'd taken the pen from his hand and written something completely different. Not a story about a woman destroyed by her husband's betrayal, but a story about a woman who stood up, who fought back, who refused to disappear, who built something beautiful from the ruins. That was my ending, and it was so much better than anything Tyler could have written. 7 years after I found that burner phone, I woke up in a house I'd bought myself. Not the one I'd shared with Tyler. Something new, modern, filled with light and art and memories that belonged only to me. James was in the kitchen making coffee. We'd moved in together 6 months ago, but we still weren't married. Maybe we would be someday. Maybe we wouldn't. It didn't matter. What mattered was that every day I woke up next to someone who saw me.
Really saw me.
Not as an accessory or a support system, but as a whole person with value and dreams and opinions that mattered. My consulting firm had 15 employees now. We'd just landed a contract with a Fortune 500 company. The girl who'd been told she was dead weight was now running a multi-million-dollar business. The irony wasn't lost on me. Veronica called while I was getting ready for work. Maya's starting first grade today, she said, her voice thick with emotion. How is she old enough for first grade already? Because time moves fast when you're happy, I told her. How are you doing?
Good, she said.
Really good. Marcus proposed last night. Marcus was the single dad she'd been dating for 3 years.
Kind. Stable.
Everything Tyler had pretended to be, but never was. That's amazing, I said, genuinely thrilled. When's the wedding? Next summer, Veronica replied. And Elena? I want you to be my maid of honor. You and Isabel both. You're my family. The people who saved me when I couldn't save myself. We saved each other, I corrected. That's what family does. After we hung up, I looked at myself in the mirror. 45 years old. Lines around my eyes from smiling. Gray hairs I didn't bother to cover. A body that was strong from living, not from trying to look perfect for someone who didn't appreciate it anyway. I looked happy. I looked free. I looked like someone who'd survived something terrible and come out stronger. That afternoon, I had lunch with Isabel. She'd just been promoted to senior VP at her company, the youngest person to ever hold that position. She'd taken the work Tyler stole from her and built an empire with it. I got a message from Tyler yesterday, Isabel said casually over salads. First one in years. Asking if we could talk. If I'd be willing to give him a reference for a job application. I almost choked on my water. He asked you for a reference? After everything? Apparently he's trying to get back into corporate work, Isabel said with a dry smile. Thinks enough time has passed that people have forgotten. Or forgiven. What did you say? I asked. Nothing, Isabel replied. I blocked him.
Just like you taught me.
Some people don't deserve your energy, Elena. Not even to say no. She was right. Tyler had taken enough from all of us. He didn't get anything more. Not our time. Not our consideration. Not even our anger. Just silence. The kind of silence that says you're so irrelevant that I can't even be bothered to respond. That evening, James and I hosted dinner at our house. Veronica and Marcus brought Maya. Isabel came with an expensive bottle of wine and stories about her latest boardroom victory. We cooked together, laughed together, told stories about our weeks. Maya, now 7 years old and brilliant, showed me a picture she'd drawn at school. It was of our Sunday dinners. Her mom, me, Isabel, James, Marcus. All of us around a table, smiling. "This is my family," Maya announced proudly. "Not the family I was born into. The family I got to choose." Out of the mouths of children. She'd summed up everything perfectly. We weren't related by blood or marriage or legal documents. We were related by choice. By survival. By the decision to support each other instead of tear each other down. After dinner, after everyone had gone home, James and I sat on our back porch watching the stars. He reached for my hand. "You know what I love about you?"
he said.
"You're not afraid of your past. You don't hide from what happened with Tyler. You own it. You survived it. And you let it make you stronger instead of bitter." I thought about that. About whether I was bitter.
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes I thought about those 12 years and felt angry about the time I'd lost. The career I'd delayed. The confidence Tyler had stolen. But mostly I felt grateful. Grateful that I'd found out who Tyler really was. Grateful that I'd found the strength to fight back. Grateful for Isabel and Veronica and the family we'd built from the ruins of Tyler's lies. If you're watching this and haven't subscribed yet, don't break my heart like that. Tap the button. Let's keep growing together. I never heard from Tyler again after that last blocked message. I heard through the industry grapevine that he'd moved to a small town somewhere. Was working in sales at a local business. Had a modest life that bore no resemblance to the empire he tried to build on stolen work and broken promises. Good, I thought when I heard. Not with satisfaction or vindication. Just with finality. Tyler had gotten exactly what he deserved. Not revenge. Just consequence. The natural result of treating people as disposable and thinking you'd never have to pay for it. Meanwhile, I had everything he'd tried to take from me.
Career.
Confidence.
Love. Family. Purpose.
All of it earned through standing up instead of staying down. Through refusing to be erased. Through demanding that my life, my pain, my worth actually mattered. People always ask me if I regret it. If going after Tyler so aggressively was worth it. If I should have just taken his settlement and moved on quietly.
And here's what I tell them.
It was never about the money or even about destroying Tyler's career. It was about refusing to let someone else write my story. It was about standing up and saying, "No, you don't get to discard me like I'm nothing. You don't get to rewrite history and walk away clean." Tyler thought the day he got that promotion was his beginning. The day he'd finally be free to live the life he really wanted. He was wrong. It was his ending. And it was my beginning. If you're going through something similar, if someone has made you feel invisible or disposable or less than, I want you to know this. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You have more strength than you realize. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's becoming the person you were always meant to be. It's building a life so full and rich that the person who tried to destroy you becomes irrelevant. It's choosing yourself, again and again, until choosing yourself becomes natural instead of revolutionary. 7 years ago, I found a burner phone in my husband's gym bag. That discovery could have destroyed me. And for a while it almost did. But instead, I let it transform me. I took the pain and the betrayal and the humiliation, and I turned it into power. Tyler took 12 years from me. But in the end, I got something he never had and never would. I got myself back. The real me. Not the small, invisible version Tyler wanted. The full, brilliant, powerful version I'd always been underneath. And that was worth everything. I stood on my porch, James beside me, stars overhead, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years.
Peace.
Complete, bone-deep peace with who I was and what I'd done and where I'd ended up. Tyler had tried to write my ending. but I'd taken the pen and written something beautiful instead. Not a story about a woman destroyed by betrayal, but a story about a woman who stood up, who fought back, who refused to disappear, who built a family from strangers and a career from ruins and a life from the ashes of what someone else tried to burn down. That was my story, and it was a damn good one. Sometimes the person who walked away simply made space for the life you deserved all along. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. I read every single one. And remember, you are never as powerless as someone wants you to believe. You are stronger than you know. You are worth fighting for. And your story doesn't end when someone else says it does. Your story continues as long as you keep writing it. See you in the next story.